Bonjour les amis. Today we're going to learn about a very important topic, partitive articles and indefinite articles. So where, when and how to use un, une, des, du, de la or de. In today's lesson I'll clearly explain the French partitive and indefinite articles plus the preposition de. Translate some versus a specific quantity like a, an, or one. The French use a combination of two articles. The indefinite article, un, une, des. These are the three different types of indefinite articles. And the partitive article. There are four of them. Du, de la, de l'apostrophe, and des. You might have noticed that they serves as both an indefinite and a partitive article, and it is also a contraction, by the way. Interestingly, it is translated the same way as some. So you must be wondering, what is the difference? It's actually quite simple. When you use they with a countable noun like des livres, which means some books, then it acts as an indefinite article. However, when you use it with an uncountable noun like des épinards, some spinach, then it functions as a partitive article. While using articles, you just have to understand whether you're talking about a precise quantity or a vague one, and use the French article accordingly. So let's begin with the indefinite articles. So when you're talking about a whole item, you have to use un or une. You use un with all the masculine nouns and une with all the feminine nouns. Please know that the indefinite article a or an and the cardinal number one have the same translation in French. For example, voici une fille. Here is a girl. Or donne-moi une pomme. Give me an apple. Or j'ai un euro. I have €1. Some other examples are je cherche un beau livre. I'm looking for a good book. Or j'achète une robe bleue. I buy a blue dress. So of course, when you have more than one thing, you use numbers like 2, 2, 3, 3, or perhaps 10, these. But remember, with numbers, you don't use any article. For example, j'ai 3 chats. I have 3 cats. Tu dois manger 2 bananes. You must eat 2 bananas. Now let's talk about the partitive articles. As you already know, there are 4 of them. Du, de la, de l'apostrophe, and des. So when do you use them? When you're talking about a portion of an item, like food items or something that cannot be quantified, for example, qualities like patience. So you have to use the partitive articles. In short, the French partitive articles express a non-specific notion of quantity. You will mostly see these articles being used after the verbs vouloir, to want to, or avoir, to have. It's the notion of some in English, but in English we don't always use the word some. Often we use nothing at all. So, for example, if you're asking someone if they have cats, in English you would simply say, "Do you have cats?" But in French, it would be "Tu as des chats?" Right? Tu as des chats? So in French, you must use a partitive article to mention an unspecified quantity. Now, to answer this question, you in English you would simply say, "Yes, I have cats." But in French, "Oui, j'ai des chats."
Let's look at a few more examples. Number 1, je voudrais de l'eau, s'il vous plaît. Je voudrais de l'eau, s'il vous plaît. I would like some water, please. Number 2, le professeur a de la patience. Le professeur a de la patience. The teacher has patience. See how in this example we're using de la with patience, but we don't have to say some while translating in English. Because in English, we don't say the teacher has some patience, we just say the teacher has patience. Number 3, voici du gâteau. Voici du gâteau. Here is some cake. Voici du gâteau. Which means it's not the whole cake, it's just a portion of it. The next example is je vais acheter des pommes. Je vais acheter des pommes. I'm going to buy some apples. And then number 5 is elle a des amis formidables. Elle a des amis formidables. She has great friends. This is a perfect example to understand the difference of French and English language structure and why word-to-word translation hardly ever works. Let's understand. In English, if you say she has some great friends, that would indicate that her other friends are not so great. So here we won't use an article in English if you want to say she has great friends. However, in French, you need to use the French logic. So you have to use des. Elle a des amis formidables. She has good friends or she has great friends. This is because in English, the word some is used for unspecified quantity and also as a derogatory adjective. Like when you say she went out with some guy. Now, in French, you can't use they in the same sense. It only means some as an unspecified quantity. So be careful. Translation doesn't always work.
About the expressions of quantity used with more specific quantity. This is usually the part that confuses many students. When you use an expression of quantity, like a kilo of, a bottle of, a little bit of, you are expressing a very specific quantity. And in French, these expressions are followed by the preposition de or the apostrophe. So the apostrophe is used with the vowels. In English, you don't say a bottle of the water, right? You say a bottle of water. Fortunately, it's the same in French. We say une bouteille d'eau. Une bouteille d'eau. A bottle of water. Not une bouteille de l'eau, right? So, in French, after an expression of quantity, we use de or the apostrophe. Let's look at a few more examples. Un verre de vin. Un verre de vin. A glass of wine. Une bouteille de champagne. Une bouteille de champagne. A bottle of champagne. Une carafe d'eau. Une carafe d'eau. A pitcher of water. You might have noticed how DE became D apostrophe when used with a word starting with a vowel, EAU, right? Next example, un litre de jus de pomme. Un litre de jus de pomme. A liter of apple juice. Une assiette de charcuterie. Une assiette de charcuterie. A plate of cold cuts. Un kilo de pommes de terre. Un kilo de pommes de terre. Un kilo de pommes de terre. A kilo of potatoes. Une botte de carottes. Une botte de carottes. A bunch of carrots. Une barquette de fraises. Une barquette de fraises. A box of strawberries. Une part de tarte. Une part de tarte. A slice of pie. And do not forget all the adverbs that also specify quantities. For example, un peu de fromage. Un peu de fromage. A bit of cheese. Beaucoup de lait. Beaucoup de lait. Beaucoup de lait. A lot of milk. Quelques morceaux de lard. Quelques morceaux de lard. Quelques morceaux de lard. A few pieces of bacon. Note that in spoken French, this de is very much glided, so almost silent. For example, this un peu de fromage is usually pronounced as un peu de fromage. Okay, now following the same logic, pas, which means none, is a specified quantity, right? None, zero. So pas is also followed by the preposition de or the apostrophe. For example, if you want to say I have some children or I have children, in French you would say j'ai des enfants. J'ai des enfants. But if you want to say I don't have any children or I have zero kids, then you would say je n'ai pas d'enfants. Je n'ai pas d'enfants. We're using the apostrophe here because enfant is a word starting with a vowel. Next example, j'ai du travail à faire. J'ai du travail à faire. I have some work to do. But if you don't have anything to do, no work at all, you would say je n'ai pas de travail. Je n'ai pas de travail. So, to sum up, while using these articles, you need to ask yourself, Am I talking about a very specific quantity, like a number or, une pomme, cinq pommes, etc.? Or an expression of quantity, like un kilo de, une bouteille de, etc.? Or an unspecified quantity of an item, like du vin, du riz, de la patience, or a vague plural quantity, like des pommes, or no item at all, like pas de pommes, no apples. Now let's do a small exercise to check what you've understood. You have to complete these sentences using un, une, des, du, de la, de l'apostrophe, de, or the apostrophe. You can pause the video and complete the exercise. You can type your answer in the comments below if you want, or you can write them down. When you're done, you can play the video to check your answers. So let's check your answers now. Number 1. Je voudrais 3 litres de lait, s'il vous plaît. Je voudrais 3 litres de lait, s'il vous plaît. Why are we using 3 litres de lait, s'il vous plaît? Because 3 liters is a very specific quantity. I would like to have 3 liters of milk, please. In the next sentence, je n'ai pas de chat. Je n'ai pas de chat. I don't have any cats. 0 cats. So, the preposition de. Regarde une belle robe. Look, a beautiful dress. Regarde une belle robe. Je voudrais un pizza, s'il vous plaît. You can see in the bracket it's written a whole one. That means we're talking about one complete pizza. So, un pizza, s'il vous plaît. Je voudrais du pizza, s'il vous plaît. In the bracket, you can see a portion of it. And when you're talking about a portion of something, you use the partitive article du. Next up, je voudrais une tranche de pizza, s'il vous plaît. A slice of pizza. Une tranche de pizza, s'il vous plaît. So we're talking about a specific quantity here. Therefore, we have to use the preposition de. Non merci, je ne veux pas de pizza. No thank you, I don't want no pizza. Je voudrais de l'eau, s'il vous plaît. I would like to have some water, please. Tu as du courage. Tu as du courage. You have courage. Achète des oranges. Achète des oranges. Buy some oranges. Je voudrais manger une glace à la vanille. Or, je voudrais manger de la glace à la vanille. That depends on what you exactly want. If you want a complete ice cream, a vanilla ice cream, then you can use une glace à la vanille. But if you want some portion of it, then you would say je voudrais manger de la glace à la vanille. And that's it. If you have any questions, please feel free to type them in the comments and I will reply. And I hope now you'd be able to use the articles with more confidence And don't forget to practice. As you already know, practice makes perfect. Merci, au revoir et bon courage.